Good morning. Welcome to News Center Maine's Political Brew. Things are the fast and the furious in politics right now. And here we are less than a month away from the election. Joining us this morning to unpack so much of this baggage are Ray Richardson from WLOB Radio's Ray Richardson Show and the longtime co-host of the WGAN Morning News, Ken Altshuler. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Good to see you both.
It's good to be seen and not in any hospital with coronavirus.
Right. And that's where we're going to begin, because we've learned, of course, as we already knew, but coronavirus spares no one. President Trump hospitalized this weekend. First Lady Melania Trump also tested positive for COVID-19. And while our top priority here, we all hope for their quick recovery, we get down to business, we want to look at how this news affects the political dynamics of the presidential race. Ken, at the very least, the president is off the campaign trail for a couple of weeks.
Right. And he's off the campaign trail. He can't connect to people. Joe Biden doesn't have to debate him, most likely in at least the second debate. He can be quiet. I really believe this is a game changer. And I'm not suggesting there's a ton of people undecided. And I know Ray feels that way, and I tend to agree with that. However, this is really big, and here's why. The best issue for the president is the economy. The economy was hurt by coronavirus, but it started bouncing back, as Chris Wallace mentioned in the debate. Now what happened? Well, went to the hospital. Stock market went down. It's going to take a month to recover from that. But more importantly, the economy is off the front page of the newspaper. For the next month, we're going to hear about coronavirus, who in the West Wing has it, how they got it, and face masks. And that's going to all hurt Donald Trump.
Ray, what do you think the impact is?
Well, I respectfully disagree with my friend Ken. I don't think it makes a big difference here. People that support the president aren't going to suddenly turn away from him because he has coronavirus. There's a lot of sympathy that's going on for him and his family right now. We all wish him well. Those of us that pray, we are praying for the family's recovery. So I don't think that changes anything. Ken's right about the economy. That is the president's strength. As you saw on Friday, the unemployment rate dropped below 8%. I believe FDR is the only president to be reelected with an unemployment rate above 8%. That was a big deal in 2012 when Obama went below 8% right before the election. The Federal Reserve is predicting maybe upwards of a 30% growth in the third quarter. That news will come out in the middle of October. Those all bode well for the president's leadership on the economy. And I think most people are still Americans, patriotic, and they just want the president and the family to be well.
The first presidential debate was held this week, and a lot of people just figured it was a big train wreck. Ray, do you think the president missed a chance to attract some voters beyond his base because of his debate performance?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm a great believer that this election is decided. We just don't know for sure what the outcome is. I do believe the president's going to win, and I think that there is a silent majority of Trump supporters, as there were in 2016, that just don't want the aggravation of being public Trump supporters, because we've all seen what that does. The debate, the president was too aggressive. I think maybe he would even acknowledge that in a private moment. On a scale of 1 to 10, he was a 12. I think if he had been an 8 and allowed Joe Biden to actually sort of hang himself politically, there were times where Joe was clearly stumbling and the president jumped in and frankly saved him. And I'm hoping that his advisors remind him that sometimes you need to dial it down.
What do you think, Ken?
It's rare where a debate really affects the outcome of an election. And except for I think Nixon-Kennedy debate, really that's true. However, I think the behavior of Donald Trump was stunningly bad. He was a middle-aged school child, bully on the playground, and nobody likes bullies on the playground. Once again, I tend to agree with Ray that there's not a lot of undecideds. However, if there are, and they saw that performance, and 100 million people saw that performance, they're thinking, this is the person who's representing us. I think it was a bad display. Now, I don't think Joe Biden did a great job. He didn't have to. He had to make sure that he didn't appear to have dementia. He had to be able to make it through 90 minutes. He did stumble. He's got some issues with some of his responses. But Donald Trump overshadowed all that by not allowing Joe Biden to make mistakes. And one thing Joe Biden did very well, he looked in the camera, and that was very effective. I think at the end of the day, he prevailed in that debate. I'd give him a B. I'd give Donald Trump an F.
Now, of course, over the last week, we learned, the New York Times reported that President Trump has paid little or no income taxes over the last decade or more. Do you think, Ken, that matters to voters?
I don't. I think his supporters say, if they believe it, good for him, because the less money the government gets, the better. It makes them smart. That's what we're supposed to do, is avoid paying taxes. People who don't like Donald Trump say, see, I told you so. He's a liar. He's a cheat. It's a factor It's not a game changer, as I think coronavirus is, but it's another nail in the coffin. But I think that some people feel, why am I paying taxes? Why is he not paying his fair share? So some people will be affected. I don't think it changes votes.
And Ray, does it damage the idea and the Trump brand that he's such a good businessman?
I don't think so. I said this to you guys during the break. I've said it on the air many times on my show. When I was a kid, I read the New York Times. I felt sophisticated by doing so. Today, I just kind of feel dirty. The gray lady has fallen. So I don't know if the story's true. They didn't provide documentation, at least publicly, or sources. If it is true, I think a couple of significant things missed the headlines. On the 2 years, they claim he paid $750. He actually, when he filed his extension, paid $1 million 1 year in anticipated taxes. And then he paid $4.2 million in another year. Again, if the story's true, they said there was no connection to Russia financially. And look, people have questioned, why doesn't he put out his tax returns? He's still a businessman, and that could give a competitive advantage to his competitors.
All right. Maine's U.S. Senate candidates met for their second debate this past week. Ray, any takeaways from that meeting this time?
Sarah Gideon has a question she has not answered yet. And that is, how is a rookie senator who won't even know where the bathrooms are for the first month of the election is a good trade for someone like Susan Collins? Should the Republicans hold the majority in the Senate, and I believe they're going to, she'll be the chair of the Appropriations Committee, the most powerful committee in federal government. I just don't think that Sarah Gideon has made the case that that's a good trade for Maine people. Susan Collins is a titan in Washington. Everybody knows it. And with Gideon having her people say Gideon's bipartisan, the House Republicans cannot stand her. I don't know why they're not speaking out. But Collins has been the most bipartisan senator in the country for 7 years and 10 of the last 12. I just don't think Gideon's made the case.
Ken, what do you think? Does this debate have any impact?
Well, first of all, Max Lynn is still Max Lynn. It astounds me that he's included in the debate, but I understand why he is. I think people are tired of Susan Collins. I think many women are angry at his Kavanaugh vote. I think it's interesting, her stand about Amy Barrett, which is a reverse of her stand on Garland not getting a hearing, is interesting. I think she did that for political reasons. I think if you view Donald Trump's success as wanting to drain the swamp and being an outsider and not being a politician, in some ways, Susan Collins is an insider. At the same time, she rides the coattails of Donald Trump. I think she rises and falls with Donald Trump. If Donald Trump does not do as well in the 2nd district, and if he does not do as well as he did in Maine, I think Susan Collins could very easily lose this election. Hard to believe. I don't count out incumbents. I still give her the edge, but I think most people see Sarah Gideon as a breath of fresh air.
And we should be clear, Ken, that Susan Collins did support having hearings on Merrick Garland 4 years ago. She was in the minority of her party at the time.
She did, and she could have easily supported hearings on Amy Barrett. And instead, she says it's too close to the election.
Well, I see your point, right.
And I did, just so we're clear, 4 years ago, I said the same thing. People weren't happy about it, but the Constitution is the Constitution. It's not the McConnell precedent or the Biden rule. The Constitution's real clear, and I supported hearings on Merrick Garland 4 years ago as well.
Exactly. Mitt Romney said it perfectly. The Constitution says the president nominates, the Senate advises and consents. And Susan Collins did the right thing with Garland, and frankly, I think the wrong thing with Amy Barrett.
All right, well, let's look at the 2nd District congressional race. Republican Bill Cohen, the former senator and Secretary of Defense who once represented Maine's 2nd District, has endorsed Democrat Jared Golden. Of course, he's also endorsed Joe Biden for president, but Susan Collins for Senate. Ken, what do you make of it? Does it have any impact?
Pretty amazing, I got to say. I don't usually think endorsements make a difference, but when you have a very prominent Maine Republican endorse a Democrat, I think it makes a big difference. And the fact that Max Lynn endorsed Jared Golden is astounding again. I think that it does make a difference. And I think that Jared Golden is running, in my opinion, the best campaign in the state of Maine. I would have thought that was a toss-up, if not a loser for Jared Golden. Of course, Congressmen and women, their first re-election is the most vulnerable. I think he's going to walk away with this, and it's because he's running a good campaign and he's getting endorsements from people like Bill Cohen.
What do you think of that race, Ray?
So this is going to sound disrespectful, but I don't mean it to be. When it first came out, when he endorsed Joe Biden, Bill Cohen, my comment was, I didn't realize he was still with us. I mean, nobody's heard from him. And then when he came out and endorsed Jared Golden, the truth is, if someone's under 40, they don't have any idea who Bill Cohen is unless they're a political junkie. So I don't know that the endorsement makes a lot of sense in terms of election momentum. I will agree with Ken, and I'm a Dale Craft supporter, but I think Jared is running a smart campaign. I'm not going to take that away from him if we're going to be honest here.
And when it comes to doing business, it's interesting that this a couple of days ago, Jared Golden and Shelley Pingree in the 1st District split on the newest House pandemic relief bill, with Golden voting against the Democratic position because he says the bill is too partisan. He said failure to accept compromise means no one gets anything. Now, that must be kind of refreshing to a lot of people, Ray.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, look, they need to pass a stimulus. We all know it. But these guys in Congress, I could use a different word, they're just playing politics at a time when so many people in this country are hurting through no fault of their own. And it makes you feel like there's a huge disconnect between the people we elect to represent us and the people that elected them. I'm not sure what Golden vote meant. He split his vote on the impeachment. It felt political when he did the impeachment. I'm not sure that this does, but I guess time will tell.
What do you think, Ken?
Well, I'm glad Ray brought up the Trump impeachment vote, because he did split his vote on that, and it may have been political, but I don't think it was, because he could have voted for both articles of impeachment or neither. I think that to most people, I think it shows that Jared Golden votes his conscience, and frankly, he thinks it's too partisan. It is political. If I was a Democrat, I would have voted for political reasons, but from an economic point of view, it's not a good bill. And so I applaud Jared Golden, and I think it does help his campaign.
In the 1st District, Congresswoman Shelley Pingree and Republican newcomer Jay Allen will take part in their first televised forum on Tuesday here on News Center Maine. Ken, what, if anything, can Jay Allen do to break through with such an entrenched incumbent?
Let's be honest, he can't. You've described her perfectly, an entrenched incumbent. She's in the 1st District. Progressives control Portland. She's going to win again, 60% of the vote. He's a very capable candidate, a very smart guy. I think he'd be a good congressman. He's not going to beat Shelley in the 1st District, so there's nothing he can do except do the best he can to be the lamb led to slaughter.
Ray?
I respectfully disagree. I think that there is a possibility, but it requires that silent Trump majority that many people think exists. If you get outside of Portland in the 1st CD, it is nothing but Trump. And you don't have to go far. Even if you go to Wyndham, Bill Diamond and I, who Bill represents that area, we were talking about it the other day. So I think there has to be a Trump resurgence outside of Portland. And I also think Jay Allen, who I believe is the most qualified man to run for Congress in this state in my 35 years here. He's a retired Army colonel. He's a practicing medical doctor. If every Republican would step up to the plate in the state and give him $5, maybe there's a flourish at the end. But again, Jay Allen's fate really lies with Donald Trump.
Finally, we want to get to our winners and losers in politics this week. Ken Altshuler, we'll begin with you.
Jared Golden's the winner of the week. He got the endorsement of Bill Cohen. He's running a smart campaign. I'm kind of avoiding that he got the endorsement of Max Lynn because I'm not sure it matters. But he is doing really well. I think that in a very vulnerable election, he is really solidified his stance. I think he's the winner of the week. Loser of the week, Donald Trump. He makes fun of Joe Biden about wearing a mask, and he has coronavirus. He looks weak. He looks stupid. He looks contradictory. He looks like a hypocrite. He's the loser of the week.
All right, and Ray Richardson.
I think Susan Collins is the winner of the week. When the question was asked of Sarah Gideon, what have you done as the Speaker of the House to help during coronavirus? She said, I made sure Governor Janet Mills had all the power she needed. In other words, she acknowledged an abdication of her responsibility. I think that goes to Collins. The loser of the week, in my opinion, was the American people on the debate on Tuesday. I was hoping for something different, and I'm a huge Trump supporter. I know Biden supporters were hoping for something different. So I think the American people lost Tuesday night.
Great. Ken, thank you so much. That's going to do it for Political Brew this week. We thank you for joining us. News Center Maine is back after this.